Ça va?
Il a un gros lapin.
They're used to this as well.
Maybe they're just too small. We should come way closer.
Who's that?
p.m. each day, except Wednesdays, when it's closed until noon. Swimmers are reminded not to exceed deeper parts of the lagoon unless you're a confident swimmer. Remember to follow lifeguard instructions at all times and enjoy your time here at the Esplanade Lagoon.